Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. We continue this week's discussion of Justice League with a little more specifics on things that happened in the movie and things that were missing and things that were there. Of course, we have the return of Superman, which, hooray, is great. He comes back fighting the League, which is something I didn't really want. I didn't necessarily want more negativity surrounding Superman. The idea that he can be a loose cannon, or he can decide to kill his friends, or he can decide to destroy the world, or he can decide to make jokes about people bleeding. Now, it was a great line. He picks up Batman. He asks him, "Do you bleed?" It was meant to be a callback to Batman v Superman. I believe it's possible that this was a Zack Snyder line and thought, and this kind of whole train of feeling, I think, maybe with the comeback. Now, the problem I had with the comeback is that I think they sort of threw out the window the idea that at the end of Batman v Superman, we already saw the gravel moving on his grave, meaning that there was already enough energy there, meaning that he wasn't going to stay dead. That was our hint at the end of the movie, in case you didn't know when you left the movie that Superman would return. Maybe you thought he'd be dead for good, although I have since read some reviews of Justice League and some thoughts on how they should proceed in the DCEU, and I've seen things like Superman should have just stayed dead. He's dead in the water anyway. He's boring. He's milquetoast, whatever these things mean. And it would have made Justice League better, and it would have made the DCEU better if Superman wasn't around. While I disagree with all of these things. And, of course, in Justice League, they finally showed us a Superman who really was important, who couldn't be stopped by the League, even all of them together, even though in the last movie, Batman had a pretty easy time. Now, of course, that's with Kryptonite. So without Kryptonite and without any other contingency like Lois Lane, if Superman were to be out of control, we see here that the League can't stop him. One of the coolest scenes, obviously, the Flash scene where he's running in the Speed Force trying to save his friends, and Superman can see him, and they play a dark version of the John Williams theme at that point. And it's very cool, and it's very dramatic, but of course, Superman is the bad guy in this scene. He's the bad guy because he's confused, he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know why he came back from the dead, he doesn't know where he's been, and it's Mother Box technology. Wonder Woman and Aquaman both warn us at the beginning that something like this could happen. They're worried about it. They do it anyway. My problem with the Mother Box thing, as I said, he was already supposedly rising from the dead at the end of BVS. They do away with that completely, and he comes back because the League brought him back. I think it would have been a lot better if he was able to come back in some way on his own with the Kryptonian technology, or maybe something was put in place, or even if Lois Lane put him there. At the end, you know, in the comics, they steal his body from Cadmus, and he's in a Kryptonian restoration pod, and there's something with the Matrix, which was a thing that he had in the ship from Krypton. That being said, and I know that Batman says something about maybe he's in some sort of Kryptonian stasis, something along those lines. I can't remember the exact wording, but the idea that maybe because he's Kryptonian, because he's special to begin with, there might be a way we could use this new technology to bring him back. So, of course, it all comes back to Batman and being Batman's idea, and therefore the League brings him back to life. It just seems way too easy. Flash does it. It works. He wakes up. Then they have this big battle that ensues, and we see this great, like I said, this great scene where he can see Flash in the Speed Force, and he takes on all of the heroes in the League, and it's not a problem at all. And the only thing that can stop him is remembering Lois and his love, and then it finally starts to come back to him when he goes home to the farm, and when he sees Martha. And then we get this great return at the end of the movie. So all of that stuff is great. We see Super Breath for the first time. It's great. But like I said, the haphazardness of the trying to piece together Whedon and Snyder just doesn't work. It's two styles that don't work together. Snyder, extremely serious and dark and sort of gritty and realistic, even in people who can fly and people who have superpowers. And then Whedon, just very fun and very funny and adventure and just fantasy. And even when people die and stuff, it's still funny and light, and they joke about it and they don't think about it or talk about it. So a lot of the stuff to me just didn't didn't fit together, and I think that's what hurt it. I loved seeing Superman back in action. I was so glad the way that they showed how powerful he was, how important he was when he comes back and faces Steppenwolf with the League. Some of those lines did work. Is this guy still bothering you? I'm all about justice, but I also like truth, or I love truth, and I'm also about justice, and he beats him down, and it's clear that he's the difference in the battle. So it's great. It's finally, he kind of gets his due. He gets some great lines in there. There's some great Superman action. We've got scenes after the movie that are both Superman central. So there's a lot of great stuff to like, and I wonder whose ideas were what, but I can certainly feel tone and comedic input from Whedon. And then there are some scenes, like the scene on the farm with Lois, feels like a Zack Snyder scene. The scene on the farm with Martha and Lois, where they're hugging him and they're so happy that he's back. That feels like it was there. Feels like it was written by Snyder and friends before Whedon came on. Then scenes like Aquaman sitting on the lasso and saying very sexual things to Wonder Woman, and then being made to look like a fool, feels like a Whedon scene. A lot of the Flash stuff feels like Whedon stuff. But I liked most of it. I liked that he was kind of, it's not Barry, but I liked that he was kind of nervous and twitchy. It kind of fits with the power set. So there was a lot to like, and then there was a lot that kind of fell flat for me. I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to see the full trilogy as envisioned by Zack Snyder, and how it really came, you know, no Man of Steel theme, or very little, which was a great theme, a very epic theme, very dramatic theme, and a lot of Batman theme from Elfman from the '89 film. Even when the League's together, it seems like the League theme is now a slightly different version of the Danny Elfman Batman theme. And I love that theme when I was watching the Batman movie when I was young. I love it for Batman, but the fact that there wasn't really a lot of new music, it was just kind of tones based on the Batman theme, bothered me a bit. But it seems like a lot of people are enjoying it. It obviously didn't do as well as they wanted at the box office. I'm not sure what that means moving forward. But I do want to see the film again, and maybe I'll change some of my view as I enjoy the scenes that I do love and try to look past a lot of the sloppy effects. And I mean, I just think in a lot of ways it was embarrassing to release it looking the way it looked. And that's just because they tried to reshoot things after they were already shot, or they tried to refinish up effects or change effects to reshoot new scenes. The mustache, the face being all weird. But I did enjoy it for a lot of reasons, and I was disappointed for a lot of reasons as well. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.